again, we gather in search of the truth, dark, and mystery. It's the Drunk Turkey Show.
Big development today in the investigation into the murders of 4 University of Idaho students. According to state and local officials and court documents, 28-year-old Brian Christopher Kohberger has been arrested. He was arrested and arraigned this morning in Pennsylvania.
We have new details on what Brian Kohberger was doing right before his arrest. Police says a tactical team burst in to arrest the Idaho murder suspect. He was in pajamas and latest gloves, stuffing trash into Ziploc bags.
Hey, greetings from the year 3000. It still sucks. This is Philip J. Fry, and you're listening to the Drunken Turkey Show. Your one stop for this sort of thing. Hit that button, like and subscribe. You know what to do, just like every other podcast.
Just like every other podcast. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the DT Show. I'm Daniel, and today, well, this entire week, to be honest with you, kind of laid down the lineup of what we got going on this week on the Drunk Turkey Show. Tonight, we have Dr. Jamie Vona on, a professor in psychology. We're going to look at the ransom notes, look at some of the behavior of the abductor on video, and kind of correlate on a few things, you know, what matches up, what doesn't match up, what should we expect when it comes to behavior, things of that nature. Tomorrow, I'm going to have former FBI agent Jennifer Coffindaffer. She's going to be on the show. We're going to be talking more about the drone. We're going to talk about probably a little bit about what we're going to talk about tonight with Dr. Jamie Vona as well tomorrow, as far as would the FBI do this when it comes to maybe perhaps putting messages in statements that the victims make or the victims' family members make. And so we'll talk about a little bit about that. And we'll talk about the drone that we saw. And then on Thursday night, I'm going to have Steve, former CSI investigator. He's going to be back on the show. He's done some experiments when it comes to the reflectors on the backpack. He's also looked at the bite light being a possible indicator while flying a possible drone out there in the middle of the night in the Nancy Guthrie neighborhood. And then the last thing I wanted to inform you guys about, no, it's a lot, but I wanted to tell you guys about my other channel called Married to the Hobby. Yesterday, we dropped a video. We're going to be doing more vlog type videos on there. So I'd appreciate if you guys go out there and check it out. We got 242 subscribers. We're trying to get to 1,000 subs. You guys could help us do that. I'd truly appreciate it. And go on a drive with us or on a road trip. We went to New Braunfels, Texas, had to pick up some parts for the car, went to go eat, picked up some collectibles. It was pretty fun. I thought it was a well-rounded video. So go check it out if you have an opportunity, and I'd appreciate it. And so with that out of the way, let's get our guest of the honor, Dr. Jamie Vona, on. How's it going, doctor?
Hi, Daniel. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's been a long week, and it's only Tuesday.
I was thinking the exact same thing. I didn't even have time to connect my YouTube to this. So for everybody out there, hopefully they'll just come over here. I'm sure they will. They're probably already over here anyway, hopefully.
Yes, ma'am. And I do see many of our shared viewers in the building. I want to say hi to everybody and thank you for being here. If this is your first time here, I've been covering true crime for a while. I started off back with Richard Allen's arrest in the Delphi case that transitioned into the Brian Kohberger and the Idaho murders. Dr. Vona, for those that are new, can you give us a little bit of a background of who you are?
Sure. I've been teaching psychology at the college and university level for 22 years. I know I don't look that old, but I am. And I'm just kidding. And I've been doing YouTube for about a year now. And I've covered cases like Mackenzie Shirilla, that's the one I'm on now, the David case or D4VD, whatever people call it, the Guthrie case a little bit, and a few other things. And now I'm doing the Taylor Parker case, which, oh my gosh, she's in your state.
Is she?
Yeah, that's the one that cut the baby out of.
Oh, I know which one you're
Oh
talking about.
my goodness. This story gets like worse and worse and worse. It's like jaw dropper after jaw dropper. It's horrible. It's
That's
horrifying. To
crazy.
look into it.
Yeah, I heard about it. I well, Brittany told me about it, and then I think I saw something on Facebook about it. But I thought it's something that happened a while ago. Is that something recent?
Well, she just got sentenced to the death penalty in Texas. So, and which I think is like rare or whatever, especially for women. But if like there's something like if there's a person out there that whatever, it would be her. Like literally, it's horrific. You have to look into it. But there's only been like 13 cases of a woman taking a baby out of somebody's stomach. Like in like decades. So like this isn't there's been like 24 in the whole United States since we've been recording and about 36 in the world. So and they've all been females like cutting out of other females. So it's never been a male cutting out of the females. It's always a female. It's so psychologically like wow. So I'm looking into that more. So people should look out for that.
That is insane. That is insane. Yeah, go check that out. Go check out Minds Behind the True Crime with Dr. Vona. I have it linked in the description. You guys, so go check her out. Make sure you give her a subscribe. Now, in this case here, with the Nancy Guthrie case, we got a couple of things that are going on. Right, we have some ransom notes that are coming out. We have the family responding to the ransom notes in a couple of different ways through the media. Apparently, and I forgot to put it in here, but apparently the ransom note writers, which I'm not 100% sold that they were actually involved in the abduction. I'm not quite there yet. I don't discredit it. I'm like 50-50. What do you think about, do you think that the ones that came in early, not the dozen or so that TMZ has gotten, but the ones that talked about the Bitcoin demand and the one that talked about Miss Guthrie's passing, do you think they're from the actual abductors?
I don't know because one, I don't think it's like abductors, in my opinion. I think it's one. And I think, in my opinion, they would be reaching out more to um, Savannah. And this is just my own opinion. But the first, what was it like the first two or something? They seemed compelling. But then the ones after that, I believe that law enforcement has shut some of them down, right? Because they were people that, like that they found that had nothing to do with anything. They were just trying to wreak havoc pretty much. So, but I don't know about those first few that they think could have been someone. The thing is that the ransom note is like really long. That was one of the things that got me. I'd like, but then again, I haven't really read many ransom notes. I'm more the psychology type person. So I'm looking into like why somebody would do that. Not so I don't know if that's normal that the ransom note's like kind of long. Is
Well,
it?
I don't know how long it is. I know I've uncovered what the media has put out there from different sources and different folks and different mainstream media, personalities who have kind of covered it. Some folks who have seen or have claimed to have seen the actual demands themselves. And so, let's put it together. Let's talk about it. Here it is. This is what I've been able to put together as far as what is on there. The first one, according to Howard Bloom, comes in February 2nd at 6:48 p.m. So if she was taken at around February 1st, close to 2 o'clock in the morning, 2:30 in the morning, and it's now the second at 6:48. That's a significant amount of time, don't you think? I mean, that's well over 24 hours. What do you think took that long?
So that's when I said long, I was just trying to like correct myself too. I meant like that it was long there time wise, not necessarily not
Oh,
like
not that
word wise. Yes, but I said that I could see why it sounded like I meant the other way. But that's what I meant. Like, wouldn't you usually see like a note like I demand this at this time? And wouldn't it usually like I just feel like there was a lot of time that I don't know. It was really there was like a long period of time, in my opinion.
Yeah, there is. I mean, it's over a full day. I mean, this is in the evening, 6:48 p.m. is when it comes in. You know, given what we've seen on video from this guy and what we know, which is that it seems like there's not a lot. In fact, multiple different news outlets have reported that FBI and law enforcement agents or law enforcement officers close to the case have pretty much indicated that the case is going cold and that it's going to take somebody, you know, saying something in a bar, somebody slipping up, maybe somebody breaking up with somebody, or somebody getting arrested and knowing some information and wanting you to leverage that. Once you've gone down to that avenue, it kind of tells me that you've hit a bunch of dead ends, don't you think?
Uh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. My whole thing is I feel like a lot of this stuff is hitting dead ends. If I didn't watch some of the things that you did the past few lives, I thought that there was like I feel like you're starting to put together some things, but there's quite a few dead ends that they're getting to, which just makes me feel not as hopeful as I'd like to feel. But then again, you never know.
Well, I mean, Cash Patel threw Pima County under the bus. Now that was a while ago. Hopefully, some things have changed since then. I'm hoping something has turned around, or maybe somebody has come forward, or something in the tips has brought something to light. But you know, Cash Patel, when asked about this investigation, all he did was say that, you know, Pima County, you know, caused issues and problems. Look at what we were able to do right away. We were able to get the video out. We were able to get images of the suspect, time frames, etc. And I was like, you know, that's great, but you know, that was in the first couple of days. What have you done since? It seems like we're going cold. And in my opinion, if Cash Patel had um, full confidence that this was going to be going somewhere relatively soon, I think that the even if what he was saying was right, that Pima County faltered, I would think that that message would be, hey, you know what? There may have been some obstacles in the beginning, but we're confident that we have an arrest soon. We've made some, you know, advancements in our investigation, and we think that this will be coming to a close in the very near future. You know, something to that nature, to throw the, you know, current investigating department under the bus, tells me that he probably doesn't foresee, you know, a conclusion coming anytime soon. Don't you think?
Absolutely. And I isn't there like I know that they deny it, but isn't there like beef between the police department and the FBI?
Well, I think at one point there was beef between Nanos and members of the FBI.
Gotcha.
And
So a specific person.
well, Nanos is the sheriff, so
Right. So he leads the whole department. So it might as well be everybody, I guess.
well, I mean, to a certain extent. Now, Nanos, I would say anybody that is under his wing, there are a lot of people who want Nanos's head on a platter. They don't want him there. There was a huge vote of unconfidence there, or no confidence, or lack of confidence, whatever you want to call it, against him by everybody who took, I guess, the survey under that department, which is not good. And I think there was even a vote at a certain point, which was unsuccessful, but to have him step down as a sheriff. So there are a lot of people who don't like him, and I know a lot of people think that maybe perhaps he's conspiring in some form or fashion. You know, for whatever reason, I'm not entirely certain, but I would just say that there are so many people, even in his own department, that don't want him there. That if they got any word or whiff that he was doing something improper, the hammer would be coming down pretty quick. So I think he's on eggshells too, in my opinion.
Well, I suspect it has something to do with ego.
Very much so. Very much so. I would 100% agree with you on that.
Yeah. I think that's the problem.
Now, these ransom notes. So February 2nd, 6:48 p.m. You know, the way I read this, to be honest with you, and I'll give you my thought process right now. I'll give you my answer, and then I'll break it down throughout the you know, everything. I have a feeling this is somebody in the probably in the true crime community who thought that they could have not a creator, but somebody who really
Okay.
follows true crime. You know what I mean? Like somebody who's really into it. And um and I think they thought that they could have an avenue of maybe getting a payday, and then try to take it back. You
Yeah.
know,
Yes.
And I'll give you my reasons why right now. So whoever did, like, if this was somebody that's not the person that committed this crime, this is somebody who would be intrigued, and this would be a local, somebody intrigued enough to make a drive over to Nancy's house immediately. Uh, Somebody who have to have some sort of skill to know to do some sort of like research into Nancy and looking at videos, etc., to try to find something like a white banded Apple Watch on Nancy's arm in a video that she was recently on the Today Show. Somebody that those things kind of lead me to believe that, like, who would be intrigued enough to go out there, be out there immediately, research some stuff, and then also maybe perhaps overhear something. Because the one thing that's in here that says that I guess was proof was that the floodlights were broken and that there was an Apple Watch with a white band on the floor. So anybody that went out there could have seen that the floodlights were broken. From what I understand, people were talking about it. It was amongst the crowd. And so somebody that did this would have been out there at the scene. What kind of person would be out there that fast? They have to be
someone
local.
seeking attention.
I would say that's true too.
Yeah.
I would say that's true too. But then you go into the second note and it just goes into like buried with nature. Nothing you could have done could have changed the outcome. We're truly sorry. Death was unintentional. It also goes into like it happened. It was due to serious, we didn't know her about the seriousness of her physical condition. We never intended to hurt her. She perished shortly after she was taken, and there was nothing anybody can do. It's almost like they're saying, hey, there was nothing you could have done, but she's okay now. She's with nature, which I found interesting because, well, about 2 months before Nancy disappears, well, one, there's this. As you can see, let me remove there's the Apple Watch. This was 2 months before Nancy disappears, and Nancy visits Tucson, and guess where she's at? She's in nature. I'm going to mute this.
And I think Savannah said in this video or something that like nature's her favorite. And
well, just the desert and being out there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's interesting, right? I
like,
do have a question though about the ransom note because I don't want to forget. Like, has it been authenticated at all? Because do they even know that those two ransom notes are from the same person?
so that's one of the things that have been kind of, I guess, debated. So some places have said that they came from the same IP address, which I doubt. One, they were a few days apart. And I think that the IP addresses would have changed by then because IP addresses changed every few days. And two, if it wasn't the IP addresses, they stated that it was, Brian Enton mentioned it was from the same type of protected server. And I guess the emails came in through a similar fashion, so to speak. Now, the first emails, there was a few that went out. And they were able to determine that those were all the same because they had the same Bitcoin wallet. And so those they were able to say they were the same. But the second one that said that she perished, they're going based on how it was retrieved, like the way that the email or the ransom note was sent in, or I guess it's not a ransom note because they didn't ask for any money. But they're going based on how it was sent in. And then Brian Enton mentioned something about a private server.
Okay, so that's like the law enforcement part of it. Psychologically, what I think is if your primary goal is a Bitcoin or to get money, then why would you send a second note saying that the victim's not here anymore?
I agree.
Like that just doesn't make any sense, in my opinion.
No, I agree. And that's why I'm not even certain that they're the same person. And that's why I think that maybe perhaps this person, if they are the same person, if they're able to figure out that it did come from the same person, this seems like there's remorse and stuff. And when you look at the video of the guy walking up, I don't see a lot of remorse. You know, the guy walks up without any, doesn't look like he has any stress to him. You know, you get what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
e-
I do.
even a career criminal walking up to a house that they're about to rob are alert. They're looking around. They're walking with urgency, and this guy doesn't.
So are you suggesting that like um he knew his environment?
I think he's just more than a
Oh, you think he's like smarter or more of a career criminal than we might think?
well, not necessarily a career criminal. I think that this guy just could be a BTK, a Zodiac, a Brian Koberger.
Why do you think he would pick like do you think like he picked her or do you think it was coincidence? Like why do you think he would pick um Nancy Guthrie?
I think it has to do with Savannah. I mean, the first letter starts off with "Hello, Savannah."
So my whole thing has always been that it's been one person and that it's probably a parasocial relationship linked to Savannah. But I'm wondering, but to me, I feel like we would probably see more of, I don't know. I don't know. I guess there's serial killers out there that talk to media all the time. I see what you're saying. Okay. I see what you're putting down, Daniel.
Well, I'm not necessarily saying he's a serial killer. I just think that he's a
Well, that's what.
psychopathic, narcissistic,
Okay, that I
sociopath
can
type of
get
guy.
down with. That I see. Okay, that I definitely get like 100%. But I'd have to think more about because if you're saying like BTK and stuff, I'm assuming if I interpreted that as like a serial killer, that's what other people might have as well. But if you're talking about personality wise, 100%, like as far as like narcissism and antisocial traits. And we're not diagnosing here anybody. We're
Right.
just looking at, I mean, this is literally behavioral traits. And also, I mean, you have to remember if somebody has the capability to go in and do what this person did, I mean, can you really say that they don't have sociopathic tendencies?
No, I agree. But when you watch him approach, and
He's so calm.
yeah, and it was even for persons who have broken into multiple houses, somebody who's committed those type of crimes, there's no hesitancy in this guy.
Mm-mm.
And I don't and to me, I think it's more than just I think this is on the extreme level of that, is what I'm seeing based on that, based on like the complete calmness of this dude. Because I mean, if we broke it down, some people think that maybe perhaps it was a family member doing this for financial gain, because they think that maybe perhaps, um, if Nancy's out of the picture, it's less of a problem for them, and maybe perhaps they get some kind of estate or will or whatever the case may be. I mean, to me, that would indicate a person who's probably never committed a crime like this. I would assume,
And
this would
I
be the
feel like
first time.
wouldn't there be such like there would be other ways that would be much easier? And do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
Like
100%. I agree.
so I feel like if it was I know you do, but I'm thinking like for the people that do think it's the family, like, don't they think like, isn't there would have been so many other ways than to, like, this was very, detailed. It had like a lot of steps. Like, I feel like if it was somebody in the family, they had access to her a few hours before, they could have just never taken her home or something. Like, there's so many other things that could have happened. I feel like, I don't know, that part just doesn't fit for me because of that.
You're right. I mean, pushed her down. She's very elderly and fragile, and say she tripped. I mean, there's a lot of things that you're absolutely right, that they could have staged something to look like an accident.
Exactly. 100%. And because they're always together and like they eat dinner and stuff together, nobody would have ever, I don't think, questioned it. I mean, it wasn't like she was, 60s. Like they probably, so I feel like there would have just been so many other ways to accomplish that if that was somebody's goal.
That's
That's all.
true. That's true. No, and I got some images that, well, I was going to show you, and we'll go
Please
through
do.
those. But so one of the things that, going back to this saying hello, Savannah, to me, I think that it addressing Savannah, to me, I had been saying this from the beginning. I thought that this person may have had a fascination with Savannah that this could have been. I've said this multiple times that this could have been that scenario with the guy that tried to assassinate President Reagan for Jodie Foster, I think is who the actress was.
Okay. Yeah. Well, me and you have been like, we definitely both see this case the same. So I totally agree with you. I think that this also is somebody probably with a parasocial relationship. I saw that a few lives ago, um, you linked, well, not that you linked, but like you talked about how she did that. You showed it here, the newscast where she goes
Yeah,
back
the
to,
video.
right. I 100% think that um, I think that that gave out a lot of information about her, like things that you might just be thinking, like, oh, I'm sharing my life with America, like, because they've been so good to me, not realizing that there are that small population of people out there that might take that information and do something malicious with it.
That's true. Now, I strongly suspect that the person that committed this crime and also the person that happened to write these letters are probably local. That doesn't mean that they're the same person. I think they're just local. It could be the same person, but I do think that they're both local. If there was this, person who had this sociopathic tendencies or psychopathic tendencies, and maybe felt for whatever reason, maybe it's a report from Savannah from a while ago, could they be triggered by that type of video where it shows her coming back home, enjoying everything, everybody, putting her on this pedestal, she's on the magazine, everybody's celebrating her.
Yeah, so there's usually a triggering event before something, sets that type of person off. So absolutely that could have been a triggering event.
I mean, it was only 2 months before she
Yeah,
went.
and
It
how do
was
we
the end
know
of
that
November.
the person could have thought like she was there and they weren't able to like meet up with her? Like we just have no idea what's in the thought of the person that did this. So if there was a whole parasocial relationship, there's a whole fantasy type part to this as well that is important to understand too.
So if this was something that was triggered by that video, like, to me, I think that means that whatever initially started whatever feelings they may have had towards Savannah could have happened recent, and it could have happened a long time ago. And then it just be brought back with that video. Do you think that's fair that we're looking at a timeline that could be wide?
So we could be looking at a timeline, that's why, but usually the person isn't just going to like put the person on like the side and then come back to them later. So I would assume that, I mean, it could be a long period of time and it could have been an escalation over time that eventually leads to this. So I mean, both things could be true. It could have been over a long period of time, but not because there was something and then nothing and then something again. It could have just been an escalation of things over time.
Do you think this person could have contacted Savannah in the past, whether that's through fan mail, through email, through something?
100%. They most certainly could have. And we all know that it's not easy, I'm assuming, to like, I mean, I've never tried to contact a celebrity, but I'm assuming there's like people that check their emails and stuff for them first, or like, go through them and sift out different. So that could also, do you remember with Brian Koberger? They said that he was like liking some of the photos and stuff like that, or he said he tried to reach out to Kaylee or Maddie or whatever and they didn't respond, but here they didn't even realize that he wrote them. It could have been something similar where he tries to say something to her, one time, multiple times, and feels like he's not getting anything back from her, so that would almost feel like a slight, like
Mm.
you're like, nobody's listening to me, like I'm serious, like type thing where the person's now not feeling like they're getting the interaction that they maybe deserve.
Oh no, I think we may have an update. DT chat is saying breaking news from the notes.
What?
Um, News update at FBI. Thank you, Nina Drew. Thank you,
Right.
Sirius. Let me
Yeah,
check.
check that out. And you guys, just so you know, I can't see my chat because everything's like teeny tiny. So if you guys are saying something to me, I'm not ignoring you. I just can't see anything. So that's why I'm not responding.
I'm not seeing anything, but let's see on X real quick.
Yeah, that's like, that would be exciting if something broke while we were live about it. That's never happened. to me.
I don't know. Let's see. I'm not seeing anything yet. If somebody can re-email me that. Let's see. All ransom notes in Nancy Guthrie case are fake.
There you go.
Well, like I said, I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah, that's what I'm so glad that came out while we're talking about it, because like I said the same thing too. Like, do we even know that they're from the same person? They're different tones and stuff like that. So this is a big update. People might not think it, but it really is, because now we can eliminate, the thought of who would have written a note like that.
Well, I told you guys.
Yeah, so did I, Daniel. I did too, you guys. I never say that crap, but I did too.
No, I know, but I'd been arguing it from the beginning, and then because I've been saying it doesn't make any sense, the timeline. Now, who could have done this? Let's go back to which one of you, because you're probably watching right now, probably scared out of your mind. It might be behind bars actually already, because I think you may have been figured out.
Right,
But
because how could they say that it's not, something, if that means that they know that what it is.
that
Like,
is,
if they could say that it has nothing to do with the crime, then that's because they know something that lets them know that.
I mean, this goes back to what I was thinking. If this wasn't like, if there wasn't a ransom letter and there wasn't a man, well, you know what? I want to figure out who this person is now, because I told you guys that this sounded like a female. This sounded like somebody in the true crime community, somebody that's local, somebody that was able to go out there. You want to figure out who this is, who did this emails. I guarantee you, if you go and pull the advanced timing records of all the phones that were around Nancy's house, in about, obviously, from the time that she disappeared to, well, I wouldn't put the time that she disappeared, by the time that it made news, put it about maybe 30 minutes after that to 6:48 p.m. You pull the advanced timing records for anybody in that area, I guarantee you're finding this person. Guarantee it. And you can do that, because this is a person who is searching things. This is a person who's not getting off their phone. This is a person who's close enough that when this goes down, is going out there in front of the place to see that the floodlights are broken, and has to have and also have the search. I mean, this was obviously, it was a long period of time if this was a real ransom, but a short period of time for somebody to pull up, the watch, and to come up with that it was possibly on the floor. So I knew this has got to be somebody that watches true crime.
And I would add to that this obviously then is somebody who's attention seeking, like I said earlier. And why would, this could be for financial gain, thrill seeking, just a desire to insert themselves into a really big case. So, or to feel important type thing. So, I mean, yeah, I hope that they, bring the hammer down, or whatever that saying is on this, because this has to like reopen all the wounds for the family again, because if they had any hope that they were going to be able to eventually find who wrote these notes and then maybe connect them to getting the mom back, like that hope just got destroyed. So the fact that somebody even made it a hope to begin with is horrific.
It is. And here's the thing, like, I'm expecting them to come down with some answers and some information. And there was a lot of people that were blaming, like, the family again, that they were responsible for the notes somehow because of their writing habits and what was in here. And I was like, who, what, when, where, and why are important questions to answer. And there was a time where I think it was like the investigators for CSAM stuff from the FBI were at the Guthrie residence, Annie and Tomas's. And a lot of people were pointing that out as, oh, they got something. They found something in their computers, etc. They know something about it. And then shortly after that, Derek Cavella gets arrested. and he was a person that contacted the Guthries via messaging. And now, instead of like looking at it as, all right, the Guthries got a message, the FBI put their best team out there, the ones that, go in there for the CSAM stuff, and they were able to determine who this guy was pretty quickly because of the messages and the emails that they sent, and made an arrest, and that's why they were out there. Well, during that time is when the second email came out that she passed away. And so for it to have been one of the family members, they would have had to have gotten that email out while the FBI's CSAM was still in their home.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. And again, it also didn't make sense that why would you write that, if you're trying to seek attention, money, whatever it is, why would you then write a second ransom note that says that the person's no longer with us? Do they know if they were written by the same person?
They
don't say.
They believe that they were. Now, Monk's intrigue brings up an excellent argument because he thought it was the family. He mentioned that because of Arizona law, that there's some laws there that in order for I guess somebody to be declared deceased, it takes some time, and so they'd have to have certain bits of evidence, the blood outside, the intruder with the gun, and then the ransom note, and then the letter that indicated that she passed would have all benefited them in that manner, which is true. You can't deny that, but just because, I mean, if somebody has life insurance and they can have a heart attack, somebody will technically benefit from that. That doesn't mean they had something to do with it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And so,
1,000%.
but yeah, so now I gotta like change a few things because this being broken that it's fake. Oh, well, you know what? Let me pull this up. So I wanted to look at a couple of things. I had brought up this image here, and I wanted to show it to you and get your opinion. Do you think the eye shape is the same?
Not really. Like on first glance, not really, no.
I didn't either. And now I said this last time, and somebody in the comments section said, hey, those aren't the same expressions. He's smiling here. The other image, he's not. And then they also mentioned that at night, because it's harder to see, that the eyes might be open more. I looked that up. That's not accurate. The pupils will dilate, but your eyes don't widen more at night.
No, the shape of the eye looks completely different. Even the eyelid, there's no eyelid on the one, or not that there's no eyelid, but there's not as much of an eyelid on the one than there's the other.
This one here looks very...
That's more almond shaped.
I was going to say that.
They still look more open. I don't know.
Do they look feminine to you?
They definitely do. We've said this from the beginning. It looks like they have on eyeliner or something like that, but I don't think that it is. But I think that I definitely think it looks it, but in my opinion, I don't think it's a female.
I don't think so either, but definitely different shape. Look, and this is another image. And so, the guy told me, hey, look for images where his face is more relaxed. And so I was like, okay, I can do that. And then I got, thought I had another one. Here it is. And so again, even this shape here just doesn't look the same to me.
No, it doesn't to me either. They don't look like the same eyes, in my opinion.
And then you have the head shape.
That I don't see as much, and I don't know, either way, but I was hearing you argue that one's rounder than the other. I don't know, if I have an opinion on that, but the eye thing, I don't see. The head, I just don't know. Would we really know if the head was?
Well, the nose thing is what intrigues me.
Okay, I thought you were going to say the head part.
The head does too. I mean, it does look longer and
I guess.
Just like a bump up here. But Tommaso has a nose on him, and this guy don't. And I have a video of JLR in the same mask. And he turns, and when he turns, now JLR, I don't know. I've never seen him in person, from the, his videos, he doesn't look like he has like a big nose or anything like that, but it didn't do him any favors. In fact, the material made his nose look bigger. This guy has like no nose.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So with the JLR thing, you're just saying that you've seen him without that head thing on and then with it on, and you could see that it makes the nose look bigger. I was trying to like process what you were getting at with that.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying.
and so I would assume that at the very least that we would see a clear representation of a nose here. And I mean, this guy's nose is flat.
Yeah, that is. But is that could it be the angle too? Like, do you have another
Um,
picture that shows? Oh, there you go. What about that picture?
Tiny nose.
It is still tiny. It doesn't look as flat as the other one, but it definitely looks tiny.
It's a tiny nose. We're looking for a left-handed tiny nose dude.
With but and my other thing is, wouldn't the if that was him, wouldn't the beard on the bottom, like, wouldn't that protrude more?
It could. It depends, and maybe this is why his nose is down. I don't know what's the dark stuff around his lips here. That could be a mask, I guess, pressing down to make his face and stuff look flat.
Or what if like somebody had a beard? When you just said that, I thought about if somebody had like a beard, could it like lift it up a little bit so therefore it doesn't look like it makes the nose look smaller?
You know what's weird though? I mean, it could be, but maybe. But if this is hair, don't you think it'd be like easily to come off and we would have some hair DNA somewhere in the house?
So you think maybe the person's trying to put on a disguise?
I mean, he may have had another mask underneath that was
Wouldn't you be
pushing
hot
down
though?
his face. I mean, it was February. It's February 1st. I think it was a pretty cool night.
Hmm.
I don't know, but his nose looks smaller. I don't know. This looks incredibly thick. You know what I mean? For it to show up like that. Like I was watching some other people on the that had either eyebrows or mustaches and stuff, and it's not as defined as this guy's. So
It does look like, just like the eyes look like there's in my opinion, it looks like there's mascara or eyeliner on. It does almost look like somebody like penciled in the mustache to make it appear darker or something.
it
Or
could
more
have.
defined. I don't know. I don't think they did. I'm just saying that probably is why this is like that could make it appear, I mean, to look fake there. I don't
It
know.
could be. I don't know. I think it's
But
somebody we don't know.
wouldn't you be afraid that in the commission of a crime that you would sweat and that your fake mustache would fall off and that would leave more DNA? So like I try to put on like both sides. I try to think of things both ways. So in one way, yes, it could, make it not look like you. So absolutely. But I feel like there's other disguises. Like, why not wear
I don't.
big glasses or
I don't think he's doing that. I think it's like maybe a compression. Maybe he wrapped something compressed on his
but do you
face.
think that's hair right there that we
I
see?
don't know. I don't know
I
if it's
see.
hair.
Okay. What else could it be? A shadow?
Well, it could be bandages that are compressed. What if he got one of those? Just like, have you ever
All
seen the
right, now
movie
put it
Dark
back up
Man?
real quick. And you have to put it back up real quick because now I need to look.
Have you ever seen the movie Dark Man?
I haven't.
So in that movie, the guy's face gets blown off, and he just wraps a bandage all the way around his head, like a mummy.
I
You
see
know,
what you're saying.
could that be what's underneath?
But would it stop? Like, see how underneath it looks almost like that little patch of hair that people get under here? Like,
The soul patch?
yeah.
It does look like that. It very well could be hair. I'm not denying that. It very well could be, but I don't think it's another. I think that if it's something underneath his face, maybe perhaps if he was trying to, you know, cover the details of his face, maybe he'd put some sort of bandage around his face so that way it would push down his nose. And that's what we're seeing on the outside of his face right there. But it very well could be hair. I have no idea.
I just feel like the bandage thing, like if you're doing this crime or whatever, that would just be more of like, I don't know, like a deterrent. Like I feel like you'd be hot. I don't know. I'm just thinking of me. I'm thinking about me walking around with a mask on during COVID. I wanted to die. Like, so to then like, actually like exert energy and have that extra layers or whatever, that's the only thing that would make me think no to that part. But,
Right.
we don't know. But this is why we have to have these conversations so we can try to figure it out.
So S Dubs comes in with 4.99, says if they're fake, how do they legally claim her dead? I mean,
Good
I
question,
get,
though.
I guess you can't.
And there has to be precedent of some sense, because you can't just say in this case we're going to say it, but in another case we're not. So there, I mean, there has to be, I would think, precedent for it somewhere.
Yeah.
I wonder, would that, and what does that mean if you can't? Like, other than financial things, like, I think even psychologically, that puts off grieving, because you're not getting that, even though they probably know in their head that, that mom's not with us anymore. And, that's what just logically makes sense. I think by even having it documented, it kind of, it's never going to be closure, but it kind of like lets you start grieving, because you feel like you've like figured out as much of the story or enough of the story to try to grieve and move forward. But by not having that and still having it open, I feel like it's almost impossible to come to terms with. I feel like that just leaves an opening that there might be a possibility that she might be alive, because even the court's not saying that they, I just feel like
Yeah.
psychologically it could do worse than good.
And, when I was talking to, Jen Coffindaffer, and she had brought up the ransom notes, and I said that they could be fake. And she's like, well, Savannah thought they were real. The FBI thought it was real enough to show it to them. And I think that at some point the FBI did believe it was real. I did pick up on a couple of things that TMZ had been saying, which like they said that they had believed, which was past tense and stuff like that a few times. And so I had brought that up on the channel a couple of times, which is why I believe that they were possibly also not authentic. But I think that like in anything in the investigation, evidence and stuff is going to be where you want to follow to lead you to the direction that you want to go. Because if you have an idea at first that these ransom notes are real, and you still have to investigate it, but if you don't, follow the evidence after that, I mean, that could be just your initial thought process that they're real. There's some information here that not many people should have known, and so they may be real. Then evidence leads you down the road that, you know what, these are most likely fake. They're not going to come out and tell us that. I'm assuming because of how much attention this has gotten, that's where we're at. But I think that if early on in this investigation that they thought there was a possibility of it was real, and given Savannah Guthrie's status, so to speak, as a celebrity financially, also where her financial status is, and being a victim's family member, I think there's a good chance that she may have demanded to see those letters. And that's why they showed them to her, not necessarily because the FBI wanted to, but because she demanded and had the power to view them. And so her opinion on them being real at that time and moving forward, that may not have been, and obviously ended up not being, what law enforcement thought throughout the entire process. Does that make sense to you, Dr. Vona?
It not only makes sense, but there's a psychological part to this too, in my opinion. I feel like by thinking that these ransom notes could be real gives you hope again, right? Because eventually you know that there's an IP address somewhere, and that, I mean, they did eventually realize that it has nothing to do with it. So it took time, but they figured it out. So by believing that they could be real just puts hope out there that maybe we can get mom back. So, of course I want to look at this. And she then puts out that, like, I mean, what would you call it, where she's asking like a plea, I guess, a plea to whoever it is that did this. So I feel like I feel like thinking that it's real just like psychologically makes sense.
Mhm.
It's
No, and
sad though.
it is. It really is. And somebody trying to profit off of this and
Hmm.
go to that extent is just sick individual as well. But like I said, I suspected that this was going to be the case, and I've been suspecting that this was probably somebody that was out there very early on, and overheard something, saw something, whether it was the broken floodlights, whatever the case may be. Because early on in this investigation, or early on in the case, the floodlights being broken and the doorbell camera being taken or missing were things that were of conversation. Big one was the doorbell camera. Like, was it taken by law enforcement, or was it taken by the person that committed the crime? And so,
Hmm.
um, What does this say to you about this abduction now that we know that there has been no attempt for financial anything?
Oh, it's interesting. Well, I never thought that there was a financial thing, so for me, it doesn't really change much. But um, like in that sense, I think, in my opinion, we're going to find out that this is probably more like a revenge type in some sort. So, like a, like that parasocial thing that I was saying. So for me, it never was a money thing. So I think that this though does close that possibility, which then, it doesn't give us the answer to what happened, but it at least starts to wean out the things that didn't happen. So like we
That's
could
true.
get closer to something that did happen.
That's true. That is true. Now, let me transition a little bit because everything I had up was referencing that. And, what, well, I guess one thing that we can still look at is the FBI. And let me pull it up real quick. So the ransom note, or the fake ransom note, now that we can say that, said, "Hello, Savannah." And when I read it, I was like, man, it's kind of weird. It kind of reminded me of Silence of the Lambs, of, "Hello, Clarice," although that was in the second part. And then there was this from the Guthries, where Savannah says, "Talk to her and you'll see that she's kind and gentle," which is very similar to a line from the Silence of the Lambs. And I wondered if maybe perhaps there was more in the letter that made law enforcement believe that this was maybe perhaps a fantasy motivated crime, along with not just the letter, but I think it would have had to have gone along with maybe what they were seeing on at the scene, for them to do something like that. And I'm not saying that that's the case. I'm going to ask actually Miss Coffindaffer tomorrow, but Savannah's reading from her page here. I mean, I know she's going through some things and stuff, but I don't know. A lot of people were picking up on some things that weren't normal to her behavior. What do you think? Do you think that this could have been something that was asked of her to be said in this video by maybe law enforcement?
I think that they're desperate at this point, right? To get an answer. They would probably have done a cartwheel if somebody said that it might help. But I think when it comes to this, a lot of people made that like Silence of the Lambs connection. And if anybody looks on my page, I did a short, or I don't know if it's a video or a short, but it's like 2 minutes long, but it goes into the psychology behind it. And I guess like my ultimate thing would be that I think that this was more like the Silence of the Lambs probably borrowed from real life more than
They
real
did.
life would borrow from Silence of the Lambs. So that same thing would, in my opinion, hold true here, that it might sound like something, but there are certain things that you would say in this situation, statistically, to get your chances as high as you can to get across to the perpetrator. So, and I feel like they're the same, core things that were asked of the Behavior Bureau back when Silence of the Lambs was being created. I don't know that anybody asked them, but I'm saying like somebody
They
that would
did.
have looked at, oh, they did. So then there you go. So, they wouldn't change that much. Like they're still going to be the same core things that you would say.
Yeah, with Silence of the Lambs, I think they actually brought in like
That's
detectives and things of
interesting.
that nature to help with the case that were investigating like the Green River Killer and some other folks. And they also utilized some real life serial killer tendencies, like Ted Bundy using the cast to get women, to hit him. He would pretend that his arm was injured so that he could get women to help him, and then he would force them into his vehicle. That's in the movie. With the Buffalo Bill, he's doing the same thing. And then also Ed Gein with the sewing of the skin and stuff like that.
That is so creepy. Put the lotion in the basket.
Yeah.
Gives me nightmares.
Yeah. And so, to me, I mean, there was a few other things that were there that seemed kind of like maybe a little bit similar. And I wondered if law enforcement had asked her to say something. And I was wondering if maybe perhaps you detected that. Like do you think you'd be able to tell if something was not very authentic?
No, it probably is scripted in some way, but again, at this point you're desperate. And because she is well known, she probably had opportunities to where somebody, retired or active from the behavior bureau from the FBI probably, reached out to didn't they do that with Kayleen Gonzalez's sister, right? Didn't they kind of help her with her statement? Not help her, but you know what I mean? Like they informed her so she can write her statement with that information. So I feel like the same type of thing probably happened here. And I would have used it too. I mean, these are the smartest people or the most educated people around this topic out there. So of course I'm going to write down exactly what they say and say it exactly the way they say I should.
True. And so let's see. Let's transition into the last thing I want. Are you familiar with the Missy Bevers case?
No, I feel like no. Well, remind me a little bit. I don't know. I feel like it sounds familiar, but I'm not like putting
A little quick thing on it was in April 2016. Terry Leanne Missy Bevers. She was a fitness instructor. Her body was found at
yes.
Creekside
Yes.
Church of Christ.
Mhm.
Yes. So one of the things that there's footage out there of the person that committed this crime, and he's oddly walking around the church, breaking things, opening doors, and then he commits this crime there. And this is a crime, or not a crime, but this is a case that I guess the perpetrator, if we were to look at him walking around, let me pull that up. Do you see similarities between how this guy is acting versus Porch Guy?
Did they ever find who this guy was?
They have not.
That's interesting, right? I mean, I'm not suggesting that they're the same person, but that same personality type or that same, because this person definitely does not look anxious, right? They're just kind of walking around and, they don't look like they're scared or hiding, waiting for, like, they literally look like they have not a care in the world, kind of like we see with Porch Guy. The other interesting thing is the gait on both of them is like a distinct gait, isn't it?
Well, the guy, a Porch Guy, I think he's trying to hide his gait. He's doing some weird things. He's like crossing his leg in front of the other. Most people don't
Oh,
walk
so
that
you
way.
think that well, this is the thing now, Daniel. If you think that he could possibly be doing that to like throw people off, then there probably is other things that like he probably did go to lengths to do other things to conceal his identity as well. So in that case, I mean, maybe they could, somebody might draw on facial hair or something. But like that makes me feel like, if you could do it in one area, you might do it in another. So if you think that he's throwing his gait off on purpose, that's actually interesting.
I mean, I think he has the gun in the middle of his crotch because of his left-handedness. I think he's trying to hide that too.
You've
So
said that the whole time. If this person's left-handed, I will definitely I definitely got you there. You definitely said that from the beginning if that ever comes out.
we'll see.
We'll
And
see.
again, I mean, maybe maybe he's an old guy that has arthritis in his right hand.
Yeah, but do you think an old guy, what, in this one or the other one, or Nancy Guthrie?
And Nancy.
Do you think that an old guy would be able to, I
Well,
don't know.
there was Carlos, right? Carlos was one of the guys that got detained, and he said in an interview that they had initially they had told him that they thought his dad had done it because of his dad's prior, I guess, history. And it sounded like when I was reading the Howard Bloom book that initially they thought this was maybe perhaps cartel related. So I wonder if there was some sort of, cartel past between Carlos's dad, and so that's just me piecing things. My speculation, I have no idea. But I thought it was interesting that they thought maybe it was Carlos's dad, who would have been, maybe I would assume 50s, 60s at
See,
earliest.
now I didn't hear that. Does Carlos's dad have a reason that we should be looking into him?
I don't think so, but I think they were looking at like people who may have had certain affiliations early on. Well, that's what Howard Bloom put in his article, that law enforcement were looking at cartel affiliations, and Carlos and Luke Daly. I don't know if they have any cartel affiliations or not, but those were people that were early on looked at. And then in Carlos's interview, he mentioned that um, they were looking at maybe perhaps his father doing it because of his past. And so that was just kind of, me connecting all those dots together.
So that's what I was saying. Like, is there a reason that Carlos's dad could have done this? So, like, what is his past? What does that mean? Like, what does he have in his
I have no
past that?
idea. I've
Oh,
not
you don't
seen
know.
I've not seen who his dad is or
Hmm,
what type of past he may have or anything. I
that's
don't even know his
interesting.
dad's name. And this guy does have like this right foot that goes out pretty crazy. This is a heavier set, possibly a heavier set dude. He's got a big get up on. So
But this
dressed
guy
up
is
to the
so
T.
comfortable.
You know what? This guy is limping weirdly. There's something wrong with his leg.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The gait is completely off here, but I don't think that here the guy's doing it on purpose. I think this is really the way they walk.
Let me show you something. Let's see. One of the things that I had noticed, I got to find it first. There it is. So watch when this guy gets onto the actual porch area. So let's back it up. You see where his step is, and then the other one is in line on the same gravel line, and
Yes, I
his
see
feet
that.
are pointing directly forward. Now his next step is, it's not on the gravel line, but he's kind of moving a little bit. One of the tests that me and Steve were doing is where we're measuring, I guess, the width between the legs when you walk. And this guy is walking right on line.
What, you're
Now,
measuring your thigh gap?
no, just where the
I'm
ankle
just
step.
kidding. I'm just sitting there. I'm picturing you like getting the tape measure, trying to measure.
Right. No, so it's from what I did was I took a step and then I pulled my leg back, and then from the space between my ankles, right? And
Gotcha.
so this guy's is pretty close. Now, unfortunately, fortunately for me and for you guys, I had an Achilles tendon rupture a couple of years back. My leg kind of kicks out a little bit now because of that too. And I've also had some knee issues. If I try to hide my gait by kicking my toe in, and so that you couldn't see that, I walk like this.
So would my daughter Gianna, and she has fibular hemimelia, so she has like the same thing, like things with her leg or whatever. And the same thing if she's like if she's starting to get tired or whatever, and like you could tell like the same thing would happen. It would kick out too. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, so exactly. So when I was walking, I was like, what if he's trying to hide something? What if what he's trying to hide by walking that way is a foot that kicks out or something?
See, my only thing is like this is like a major crime, right? So like I just don't know. I mean, I guess unless you're like how much of your brain power are you using to make sure that you're purposely doing something different? Do you know what I mean? Like there's so many other things that go on where, he tries to cover the camera and then goes back and grabs the flowers and then covers it again. So like there's just so much other stuff going on. What happens when he goes and picks up the flowers? How does he walk there?
Let's see. Well, it shows him, like, I guess bending down first.
See, like I don't think there that he would have been thinking.
And he's not. Have you see here, you can see the line there. His feet are way spread further
Hey,
apart.
good pickup on my part.
So his feet are spread further apart,
No,
which
so you're probably right then. You're
the
probably right then in the
approach
beginning.
is, yeah, the approach is him hiding it, and then he didn't think about it going back.
So I guess that just validates what I'm trying to say. So in the beginning, yes, you could use some of that brain power to be like, don't forget to look, like you're walking a different way. But then once he gets a little bit, I don't think that he was expecting the part where he was going to go over and get the flowers to put on there. So I think that part wasn't like part of the original plan. So just in the spur of the moment, he turns around, goes to get it. And I think there is where like you wouldn't stop and be like, oh, wait a minute, make sure you have your foot the right way, which I think that's a good observation here then too, because it looks like it's two different things.
Like, so look at the end. This is the part that bothers me, is his approach to the front porch is he's going diagonally this way. But when he steps over, look at how his left leg is further than his right leg.
It's almost like he's doing a sobriety test.
Further, he's crossing his legs over.
Well, then that is definitely probably intentional, especially if we just looked at him going to get the flowers and it looks nothing like that.
Yeah, so this is when he first steps on, and he's heading this way, so his foot shouldn't. You don't have to cross. I mean, the only time you'd have to cross like that is if you were turning to the right, but he's going more towards the left and still crossing his leg like that. That is weird.
As kids, we used to like walk and like just being silly, and we would like cross over too, and it does kind of look like that's what he's doing.
And he has his head down, he's swinging his arms. So this is all elaborate. This is why I thought this was like staging, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. That's a good pickup.
And so now we'll get into a little bit of what we're going to talk about on Thursday, but these reflectors, let me show you this. I don't know if you've seen this.
The drone thing, I can't believe you picked that up, man. That was huge.
Yeah,
You sent me a picture
Steve.
and you were like, do you see the drone? I was like, no, I don't see a fucking drone. Like, where? And then I looked and I'm like, wait, hold on, let me look again. And I'm like, oh my gosh, do you mean in the backpack? Like, once I saw it, I can't unsee it.
Exactly. Once you see it, you cannot unsee it. I'm gonna pull it up. I have it here somewhere.
Which then goes to show, right, that this is probably somebody that's done surveillance here or has done surveillance on her to know her, comings and goings.
I would agree. I mean, I think that it may make sense to why he's wearing the reflectors. That might be on purpose, so that way when he's flying the drone, whether that's so he can see himself or whether he puts the backpack somewhere else and he uses that as a marker. But I think that could be what it is and why he's wearing that.
I assume that would take up like a good amount of space in the backpack, because we were always like, what's in that backpack? Like, it looks so full. But I'm assuming a drone would take up some space.
Yeah, definitely would. And then you have the backpack open, which is like a sign to me that, one, it's probably a solo guy, because I think if somebody else was with him, they would have noticed the backpack. Okay, you're gonna drop all your stuff out, right? Two, either he just pulled something out or put something in.
That's what I think. He probably just put something in, is what I thought. But he could have just pulled something out as well.
Right, but you got the drone there on the bag. I'd question why he'd even have it in there. But if he's like super organized, right? If he's like this super organized person and he has everything in its place, and he packed his bag with the drone here and then cleaning supplies and then this, that might be why he's taking it inside, is because this is a very organized person. What do you think?
Yeah, sure. And he also might have been looking at like the house with the drone before he ever approaches, so that like he knows, when to approach. So he was, in my opinion, probably using the drone.
I agree.
Before he got in there. So, I mean, what are you going to do? Leave it out in the desert? Like, so I would assume you'd put it back in your backpack.
Well, I mean, my thought process is, why wouldn't you leave it in the car unless he
doesn't have a car right there and he, walked not far, but some distance.
Well, I mean, Nancy, he wouldn't have been able to have taken her very far. And the blood drops, they're so close
yeah, that's
together.
True. You're right.
Yeah, the blood drops are so close together. She was walking. This guy didn't carry her.
And that looked like aspiration, which makes me feel like her face was pretty close to the ground.
Yeah, that's true. Well, yeah, no, Steve thinks between 12 and 17 inches from the ground.
There you go.
And so there's no handprint. There's no outline of a handprint in the aspirated blood. So she never put her hand down. She didn't.
Right.
She didn't grab her mouth and then put her hand down to reach up to get up, which is an indication that she was most likely restrained.
Yeah.
But not gagged, which is interesting. Why not gag her?
That's a good question. I don't know. That's a good question. Why not Geiger? I would ask you that probably.
Maybe an oversight, if didn't bring one. But, you're in a house, you can make one out of clothing. It's weird. Unless she had problems breathing.
And or he could have made like a deal with her type thing, not a deal with her, but like, where she might have been like, I can't breathe or whatever, like you just said. And
Yeah,
he might have been like, I won't put nothing on your mouth, but like, don't say a thing, like a word or something like that. We don't know.
right. And the blood wasn't there already. There's in the larger video, you can see that it's missing. Now, so he has the drone there. Brian Koberger, one of the things that busted his rear end was the fact that he drove around the house multiple times. And eventually got a camera on him.
Yeah. Do you think this drone could be the downfall of this guy?
Not necessarily. It could be, but I think this is him avoiding driving around multiple times. And still being able to see when is the appropriate time.
Absolutely.
So there's some solar lights in the front yard here, and they're off. Maybe he's surveilled before and he knew that and what time they got there, or maybe perhaps he was using his drone and waiting for them to turn off. I don't
I was
know.
just going to say, perhaps he knows that like it takes about, what do they run for, about 6 hours? So maybe he uses the drone to make sure that that the solar power ran out so that it's not illuminating. Yeah, absolutely.
That, and you can fly around the house, you can park on the house or very close to it, you can see if there's any lights on, etc. And so, one of the things I noticed about this guy is, you see this right here, that's his backpack strap. So this guy,
Yes.
like,
Has a tight.
super
Yes, he definitely has a tight.
super tight, and I think that may have also caused this backpack to open a little bit. Maybe that's also why. But this was definitely, like I said, I would assume that he thought it was closed when he put it on. So,
Absolutely.
a couple of
But
things
yeah,
that I had noticed.
I do think that it's interesting that he has it strapped that tight. I mean, that obviously, like, to me, if it wasn't tight, like, let's just say it was loose, to me, he would, like, I feel like he's very organized or rigid.
Mhm.
And that, like, gives me that idea.
Yeah,
So
I
maybe
agree.
you're looking at a very rigid, organized person.
I think so too. And then you have the drone, and this is probably the clearest image of it where you can see the outline of it.
That was amazing. How did you pick up on that?
Steve did. He saw it and he's like, "There's a drone." And he actually, what he sent me first was a picture of a drone controller, and I thought he was only talking about what was in the front pocket, which makes sense because those have antennas on the side. And
So
so,
that could be the thing sticking out of his pocket.
yeah. And so at first I was like, I didn't see the drone part. I only saw the controller part. So I kind of dismissed it. And then I had him on the show and he's like, "Yeah, bring it up." And I was like, "All right." And I looked and I was like, he's like, "You have the image of him when he's walking?" And I was like, "No." And I looked it up and I was like, "But now I can't unsee that, dude."
Yeah, I can't either. That's exactly, I look right at it now as soon as I look at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's definitely a drone, in my opinion.
Exactly. And so I just think that maybe this guy is super organized, but yeah, it seems super calm about what he's doing.
Definitely smarter than people thought he was.
I've been saying that. I've been telling people I think that there's something to function, and that's why he's got what he's got on. But if he went out of his way to get things like, for instance, this jacket, supposedly it's from Walmart. I can't find it to save my life. I've been looking for it, can't find the jacket with the stripe. I think that if it is from Walmart, it's probably discontinued. Now, who could sell discontinued stuff that looks new? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if some of these, like, flea markets, some of these, secondhand stores might have, clearance items,
So wait,
from Walmart.
what strap are you talking about? Like, are you talking about the reflectors?
No. This jacket here has this line that goes right across here.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, and I cannot find for the life of me
Oh.
this jacket with this
Wait,
line.
Daniel, could that be the straps? You know how sometimes it has how he has it real rigid? Could that
Yeah.
have like the thing where you snap it together in the front? So like, could that be the backpack?
No, because if we go to this one here, this is without it. You can see the line right here. and you don't have the backpack.
Yeah, and you have the zipper going right in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm. And so there's a line there. So this is the same jacket. And I think there's some images of it as well where when he's up close that I was looking at, there's like a break, like right here. There's like this one little break. And I don't know if it's, he accidentally tore it, maybe he did, connect it and it tore, or if that's just part of the design. But I cannot find this jacket.
Maybe
If
it's
somebody
old.
does, let me know.
Yeah. Doesn't it look like there's a line on the bottom part too? Like where the pockets would be?
It could be. I'd have to go back and check
Even
it
on the
out.
arm a little bit. Oh, wait, there you go. Oh, that's a good picture. Is this like really the picture, or is this like AI enhanced?
No, this is really the picture.
Oh, wow.
So there's this black, and the other thing is too, we can't be certain on colors on this because sometimes different colors will show up differently. Like this backpack here, it does have for where you can plug it in or strap it across your chest, but when he's walking around, you can see it. But this backpack is black and it shows up a lot lighter based on the material. The gloves, I'm assuming, are black, but I think that the sweatshirt could be black. It's a non-hooded tactical fleece, and that's what I've been able to find as far as let's see, Brian, drunk ticket shipper Brian Ensign, thanks to Cuff You. Sirius, can you send me that to Discord real quick? Let's see.
Cup, use the best. Do you still think that he's wearing two gloves, like a pair of nitro gloves or whatever, over other gloves?
I do not. I think those are
I'm
some
glad
gloves
I
that.
asked.
Yeah, there's some gloves that Steve found. There's these steel wool gloves or whatnot. They're basically these gloves that have these 2 layers inside of them, and
What are
super
they for?
durable. A lot of different things, but
Okay.
Electricians, because especially like getting in there in places and stuff, they're durable. If you were to cut them, they would expose the white under glove, and so that gives you like dual protection. But let's see. Oh, I think Cuff, you sent it to me.
So that would make me feel like this guy's even more organized than I might be thinking. Like, so that makes me feel less like he might have like it seems like he didn't, spare expense there as far as making sure that like those gloves are probably a lot more expensive than just grabbing a pair of gloves and putting a nitrile glove over it. So, I wonder if we would find anything electronically eventually, if they do find the guy that can maybe link him buying some of this stuff.
Could be.
Hopefully.
All right, hold on.
So what a cuff.
We got Brian Ensign coming on about
is report.
Let's see what Brian Ensign. This is about the ransom notes.
Hey guys, so there's this new Reuters report that is out where Reuters, the news agency, is reporting, according to a source, that the FBI has determined that none of the Nancy Guthrie ransom notes are real. I don't have that reporting. What I have been told in the past is that they believe they could be real or they could not be real, that they have to kind of look at all possibilities, which I know they have been doing. Most of the experts who I've interviewed, retired FBI agents, people who have looked over the information that we have about the notes, have been very skeptical that the notes are real. And if you guys watch my podcast, you know that. But I don't have any sources telling me flat out that they 100% don't believe they're real. And I don't really know how they would be able to say that with 100% surety right now, when they don't have a suspect or really know what happened. But it's interesting that Reuters is reporting, according to their source, that the FBI doesn't believe the ransom notes are real. So I just kind of wanted to give you guys my take on it. Hey guys,
So he says in the past is when they said that they thought that they could be real or could not be real. I think that's pretty important because it doesn't seem like that was something that they were saying presently, that they thought that they could be real. You're muted.
Sorry, I was confused at what the message was there. Like, I don't know. That was a little bit confusing to me. So, can you iterate what just happened?
So Brian Ensign said that Reuters, I guess, has a source, and they say that the FBI believe that all ransom notes are fake. He's
Is
saying
that
that,
where the breaking news came from? Oh, I'm
yeah,
sorry. He said that. Go ahead.
yeah, and so that is where the breaking news came from, and that the FBI believe that all of them are fake. He's saying that his sources in the past have indicated that they thought that they could be real or could not be real. He doesn't understand how they can come up with the determination that they're fake without anybody under arrest or knowing really what happened. And just to kind of talk off of that, I think that this probably means that we could see an arrest pretty soon when it comes to the ransom note person. Maybe perhaps that's what, because there was some conflicting reports not too long ago that an arrest was coming around the corner, etc. And then also like Brian Ensign, TMZ, and a bunch of other guys were reporting that no, that wasn't the case, that there wasn't an arrest coming around the corner, that this case is pretty cold. Now, that could be law enforcement trying to correct the narrative to maybe they do have somebody in sight and they don't want them to flee or run, or maybe perhaps, they got certain things wrong. Maybe they have an eye on the ransom note person, but they don't believe that person is also the same person that abducted Nancy. And so it'll be interesting to see how that goes down. But one of the things that I continue to hear is believed, and I brought it up earlier in the show that TMZ has used the term believed. Brian Ensign says now they believed in the past. Nothing really about the present, nothing that law enforcement believe that these letters are real today, that they think they're credible. Everything is past tense, which tells me that law enforcement probably have figured out something about these notes for a while. What do you think?
Yeah, that's why I was asking. That's pretty much what I got too. So, yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, I think when I heard breaking news, I was thinking like just in my own head that like law enforcement came out and said something that made us. So now I just have to group the whole thing in my head. What do you think it suggests? And
I
then
think
can you read? I see something says Dr. Vona, but it's like this big. So I'm trying to read it and I want to answer it. But after you tell us, if you could read that for me, that would be amazing.
I've been skeptical about the ransom notes. I thought they were fake. I
Yeah.
thought that it took a while for them to get out. I thought it was suspicious that they reached out to the media and not to Savannah. I thought that it was an attempt to gain national attention, maybe a spectacle out of this. Everything that came out about this just kind of screamed to me that it was either a couple of things. Either they were fake, which is what I put my biggest part into it. I thought that they could have been a distraction if they were real. Maybe perhaps, somebody wanted law enforcement to look in a different direction. But the longer it took, the more I just thought that they were fake.
Yeah, me too. And once the second one came out and said, and if this was a ransom, is usually for money or for something like you give me this, I'll give you that. So that second ransom note, just saying that the mother's no longer with us and stuff like that, to me, that's where it just didn't make sense to me that it was connected.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And what True Crime Web says, this is Steve, my CSI friend. He says, Dr. Vona, would you consider a peeping Tom who uses a drone different than one who doesn't? And would this type of person have a overly active fantasy life and obsessive?
Okay, well, this is such an important question. So, one, I would say having a drone doesn't necessarily mean that you're a peeping Tom, right? Because somebody might be using this as like a way to evade getting caught. So we would have to I can't say that because this person has a drone that they
Well, I
might
think
be.
what he's asking is if there was a peeping Tom who used a
Yes. So
drone.
yes. So that's what I'm saying. That right. That's what I'm getting at. So, but if we find out that there is a relation, yes, this would definitely tell me that there is probably some fantasy driven that this was fantasy driven. So possessing a drone, it might suggest that there's preparational, like he prepared for this, in my opinion. But unless we know how he used it, I don't know if we could say that this was fantasy or rehearsal. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So in one lane, it could be fantasy. In another lane, it could be rehearsal or evasion. If this is fantasy, in my opinion, it probably started a long time ago and it slowly escalated through time. And this was the next, um, it was just an escalation and this was the next step type thing. But 100% there could be a huge fantasy behind this, but it could be revenge. I mean, there's so many things. I don't think that having the drone alone is enough for me to really say, except for knowing that he wants to surveil. And again, was it for fantasy or not to get, caught? I don't know
Yeah.
that we really know yet. Hopefully that answered it a little bit.
To me, I think that if this is a person who uses a drone and is a peeping Tom, I wouldn't say 100%, but I would say probably about 70 to 75%. This is something that was um, learned through trial and error, meaning he probably got caught before being a peeping Tom in certain ways and then escalated into utilizing technology, for their, to get to this point. So I wouldn't be surprised if we find out, if they do arrest this guy, that he may have certain, small, low class level offenses, and maybe perhaps isn't in a system for something huge. What do you think?
So I agree with that. And I think that that voyeuristic type behavior, it does say something, about control too. And but this makes me wonder, like now that I'm sitting with it for a second and I always put on like my hat of like whatever the personality is that I'm trying to get into. And I'm trying to think like, what are some other reasons if this was fantasy driven? I'm thinking of what True Crime Web said. Let's just say in a scenario where it was, could the drone have been more to get closer to things like windows, private areas, to maybe save images or videos? Rather than just getting the footage that maybe you could get from a Google Earth type thing. Like, so now my brain is going in so many different directions because then if that's the case, then we're talking about somebody who's stalking, right? That would be stalking behavior. And I mean, there's just so many things that could this thank you, True Crime Web, because now I'm going to be thinking about this for the next few hours. But I will next time we talk about it, I will have definitely have thought of all the avenues. But it is very interesting, right? That this could be fantasy driven.
It definitely could, but also if
I'm still leaning towards revenge. Because with fantasy driven, and not always, but a lot of the times there's like a sexual component. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I'm just saying, like, is an 80 something year old, it could be for some people, that could be, the type of person that they might be attracted to. But in most cases, I don't know. What do you think? I feel like this is more going towards Savannah, going through her mother to get to her, in my opinion. That's what I feel like we're seeing. I've always felt that way.
I do too, and I think that that's part of the fantasy aspect of it.
Good
Uh,
point. You could have a fantasy, Daniel. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you just made a really good point. Because something is fantasy driven doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be a sexually driven thing. I think that's where my brain just went to because that's usually the type of fantasy things. Like if you think of like BK or something, like I think of more like a sexual type thing. But on the other hand, fantasy of revenge, that absolutely. Daniel, I think that links to two things for me. I think when I'm thinking fantasy, I'm thinking more, but fantasy for revenge, absolutely. That is a huge part. And with revenge, right? There would be a fantasy there because you would probably be going through your head like possible ways of getting back at somebody. This probably wasn't the only thing they thought of, and maybe not the only thing they've done. They could have done stuff in the past that just was never connected. But I do think that we're going to see that this is one person looking for revenge. Again, if you're looking for revenge, you're fantasizing about it, right? And I mean, I don't think that there's more than one person here. I feel like somebody would have talked by now. So I do think we're talking about one offender. What do you think about that? Do you still think it's one?
I do think it's one, and I think also that this person, to be as prepared as they are to be at this point, 149 days without getting caught, probably replayed this many times in their head, right? And so I thought that this was a techie person. I've been saying that was before the drone came out. Then the drone came out. I looked at this image here of him at night, and one of the things I noticed when I looked at it harder was his left foot is forward, and so is his left arm. His right leg is back, and so is his right arm. That's not a natural position of walking. When we watch the video of him walking, he's not walking that way. In fact, nobody walks that way. Try to walk that way. Swing your right arm and your right leg at the same.
No, it is weird. I'm thinking it in my head. I'm trying to picture it, and I'm like, oh, that is really like awkward. You would have to do it on purpose.
And look at how bent his knees are. Now, a lot of people think that maybe perhaps this is a different night because of the shoes. And I know that Monk's put out a video earlier that's pretty compelling because of the this cactus here, and this image is straight up, or this plant, and then when he's approaching, this one is down. I do think that there's a possibility he may have bumped into it, or maybe have moved a pot to see if there was a key under it at some point. But I do think it is a compelling argument. However, this is a position where you stand like that. That's a position of that's a being still. That's not a position in movement. And to be bent like that and to be moving like that, that's a position of being ready to go. He's about to take off. What could he be ready to go about? Well, one of the things he's looking at here is directly at the camera, right where he's looking at. In images or the video where he's walking up, he's looking at the camera too from his eye. Even though he goes to the left, he's looking to the right, to the camera. Did you know, Dr. Vona, that these Nest cameras will blink if somebody's actively watching him?
No.
So if you walk up there and it starts to record, it'll show you a solid green light. The minute somebody picks up the feed, the green light starts to blink.
Oh, well. Wait, why would you do that though? Because wouldn't you want somebody that's like breaking in to think that you're watching?
I would agree, and I think maybe perhaps it's because of
That's just
laws.
stupid to me. It's like, it's almost like, okay, they're not watching. Let's do it now.
I agree, but there are laws, I guess, that you have to inform people that they're being recorded.
One consent versus.
So that might be the way around it. We're recording you. We're showing you a blinking light, so that way you know that you're being recorded, or somebody's watching, or whatever the case may be. But I think what he's doing is seeing if somebody's going to pick up, and if they do, he's got to take off. And I don't know about you, but if I ever get prepared to go for a race or go for a run, I lift my pants up. I lift my shorts up. I get ready to go. And I think that could expose more of his shoe. And that's why I think we see this black part on the top.
Very interesting. So that's interesting because from the beginning I said, could this person have knocked on the door to see if somebody came? But now knowing about that, the same thing, it could. Wow, I did not know that about the blinking thing on the Nest camera.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that state is a one or two party state. I'll have to look that up.
Well, I mean, Nest camera might, or they, in efforts to be legal in all 50 states, they may just do it regardless of what state you're in.
I see.
And so, and that would make more sense for, financially and logistically.
Yeah.
And so, when I realized that, and I realized this guy's position and the fact that he's always looking at it, I think that could be also why he's so comfortable walking up there. But even at that, it's too comfortable for me. He's walking way too comfortable, even if he knows that nobody's watching.
Sure. Low anxiety for sure.
Yeah. And so, but I think that's what he's doing here. I think he's prepared. That's why he doesn't have the gun on his crotch. That's why he doesn't have the backpack, because he's ready to run if he needs to.
So wait, where is the backpack here? Do we know?
I don't know. I'm assuming that it's probably in his vehicle that's probably parked off to the left.
And do you think that this is before or after the backpack thing that we see? Before, right?
Before.
Okay. So wait, then what do you think happens? Because then that means he did exit, because he then goes and gets his backpack. and comes back. So I wonder if somebody did see him.
Well, what I think happened is that he was waiting there, waiting for somebody to open the door, and then when they didn't, he just went and got his stuff. Said, "All right, coast is clear. She's asleep."
I say, that's an interesting theory, and it makes sense.
Yeah, because and again, who would know that, right? Somebody who has one, somebody who sells
Yes,
them,
because I didn't know.
somebody who competes against them. These are the people that I think of that would know these things.
And somebody that's prepared, right? So somebody who like did their research or did their due diligence, which would say what? That, oh my gosh, Daniel, what did I just say before? I'm like making connections here. So I said, like, if you have that drone, if we're talking about fantasy, whether it would have been sexual or revenge fantasy, either way, we might be talking about somebody that's getting closer up to the windows as opposed to just like surveilling altogether. Could it be that getting up close enough, he was able to detect that she had an S camera to begin with?
That's possible. I mean, he definitely was all up over that house. His approach to the house is very. So let me see. Let me show you this.
I wonder if Nancy ever said to like the kids or whatever that she ever felt, watched or seen drones over her house. Or this is the thing though, her daughter's famous, so if she did see a drone, she could have just chalked it off as one, somebody just has a drone in the neighborhood. It's not that they're uncommon, but two, that it could be somebody trying to get a picture. I don't know.
It could be. I mean, that and they're pretty silent. Houses in Arizona, I'm assuming, are well insulated due to the temperature, and so you may not be able to hear things as loud as you would think from interior. But here's one of the things that I had picked up on. You see this right here? That's a stepping stone. That is one of the stepping stones. This is his first step onto the sidewalk. He takes a total of 3 before he's on onto the porch here. So that's the first one. There's the second one, third one. You can also see the stepping stones in the background a lot clearer. Here's the fourth one, stepping stone, stepping stone. His first step was here. We took an aerial look. This is that stepping stone. His first step was about right here.
Oh, wow.
And so he's coming from this window.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So you think he's coming from the window, not necessarily from that direction? Like, do you think
he's definitely coming from this direction. But I guess you can walk straight like this and still get there. But, you're missing a big opportunity. When we see him on camera, he looks in both windows there. I don't see him walking past here and not at least trying to look in.
Wow, that's so interesting. Hopefully they swabbed it for who knows, but.
And then the crazy thing is this right here. I don't know if you can see, this is a big rock wall.
Mm-hmm.
This rock wall basically wraps all the way around, leaving him very few possibilities. So he was coming around this side here. He must have parked here, because if you park here, or if you park in the street, wherever, this rock wall is going to prevent you from going this direction. You're going to end up in the front of the house. So the only path to be walking from here, from this approach, is if you're coming from where this blue vehicle is. And so he parked here. Now, the back doors were left open, propped open.
Oh, is that the back door right there?
That's one of the entrances to the back area. Yeah. And so I always thought his entry and exit point was supposed to be the back, but something happened and he changed it. And you have cameras all over the place. You have a camera right here that's still there, and a camera right here that's still there. It's crazy that these things didn't capture him. You know what's interesting about a drone is because it uses its own frequency, it interferes with Wi-Fi signal.
Wow.
Which, guess what? There was reports not only of Nancy's
neighbors,
but neighbors as well. They were dealing with Wi-Fi issues.
So that would totally explain that too. I wonder if it happened, like if they noticed that it happened prior to this too, or was it just that night that it happened?
No, it'd be interesting if it was just that night.
It would be. And it would tell us more too, right? I mean, not that it would tell us more, but it would let us know that I don't know. I don't know exactly what it might say, but it is interesting to put together that we now that, like, why did the neighbors things go out? And if the drone can interfere with the signal, then that would account for that.
Yeah. And so, and if he was coming from the street or the driveway, he would have been on camera coming from over here, not from over here.
Hmm.
So to me, it's just a clear indication that he's coming this way. And why is he doing it?
I bet the back door probably was the where he was wanting to enter and exit, because it does kind of look like, although he is so very calm, e- even how like he puts his hand up and then goes over and gets the flowers to cover it up, like that almost says to me like you didn't think about whatever it is that just went wrong there. Could it be that he was trying to cover up the signal thing so that it wouldn't go off?
What do you mean?
Like the
With the
like
flowers?
yeah, like could the flowers have like inner like where if she did wake up, she wouldn't have. Well, I guess that would be the whole point of covering a camera, right? I wonder, it didn't work though, because the flowers were right underneath.
So here's the thing. If we were to believe that this guy is techie to the point where he knows whether or not that camera blinking or not blinking is a determination whether somebody's watching live or not, and he has this drone and all this other stuff, and he's done surveillance, so he knows this and he's aware of this. I think he would have known that all you need is like a screwdriver and just boom, and it comes off.
Yeah, so why? Which then would say to me, so why wouldn't he have a screwdriver to just do that? Would be because he had intentions of going in through the back.
Well, that, and that's a good point. That's a good point. Also, he had rocks that were available there to destroy it, and he had apparently destroyed some floodlights, so it wasn't beyond him to destroy something.
So
And
that was
then,
probably part of his fantasy, though. This probably wasn't a part of the plan. Something must have went wrong, and he couldn't get in the back. That he had to come around front.
you see, I don't know, because I don't think he made entry through the front. I think he made entry through the back. To me, I think this is part of his fantasy because he didn't have to be on camera. If his entry and exit point, and he's parked on the side of the house, is the rear, why is he even here to begin with? And if his plan was, with the flowers to conceal, there's this big reef. I wonder if I have an image of it. There's a big reef on the front door that was to the left of the let me see if I have it. Hope I do.
Well, wouldn't he have thought that the back cameras would have gotten him too?
I agree. There it is. You see that? Don't you think that would have been easier to put on the camera? It would have stayed on, and it would have concealed it a lot better.
If
And
you were planning it.
right, well, he also approached this direction. And then he turned around and looked for something on the floor here to the right. There's a big, rock there. There's this vase that you could just, if you want, but mainly the rock. He comes and picks up these flowers that, look at all these rocks that are nearby it that you could easily use to knock it off.
And you said he had just like destroyed something before that?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it was before or after, but he
Well, that's
destroyed.
interesting, right? Because if it wasn't before, in his fantasy, it could have went just a different way where maybe he just didn't think of that one thing. And so now we're just seeing what he does at spare of the moment. And his spare of the moment was to go get the plants, but maybe eventually he's, frustrated, or maybe his not frustrated, but like his adrenaline's pumping more, that it's easier just to destroy something. But that would be interesting to me to know if he destroyed whatever it was before or after. I would think it was after. Just mine.
See,
Yeah.
to me, I'm thinking if this guy's techie, if he's aware of how this equipment works, he should have been aware of how it comes off. Maybe even if he didn't have something like that, find something that's like that to pull it off. If he's trying to conceal, just put the shrubs there. You have a, whatever that reef is that's going to do a heck of a lot better than those pieces of shrubs. And you have a heck of a lot of many more rocks that are going to do even better of a job knocking it off. What is the possibility that it was done as some sort of message?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Well, then that only leaves that he would want to be seen, and him looking right into the camera. Um, you know, would show that like this is who I am. It's almost like you could see like his eyes. That last picture you just had, I mean, you could see him clearly. That would say that, you know, I want you like it would say that I'm hurt and hurt in a way like revenge, like I want revenge against you. And I want you to see like who did this to you. It reminds me of like the old Godfather movies, like, look at my face. I did this to you.
You know what's weird? I know a guy that kind of has eyes like that.
Is it Daniel from DT? No, I'm just joking. You said a media person. I was joking.
No. The media person is who I think wrote the ransom notes. Not a media person. Let me rephrase that. I think that the person that wrote the ransom notes is somebody that's like in the true crime, into true crime.
That's what I meant. I meant into true crime.
I don't know if this guy's into true crime or not.
Well, he is the true crime.
He's got some big eyes.
He really does. They're very round.
But they're even big for his face. That's why when I first saw him, I was like, man, I think this guy's wearing bifocals because of how large his eyes appear.
I don't see glasses in my opinion, but I mean it does look like he has big eyes. I mean, it could be, I don't know. It could be that he's like focused too. I'm looking at, could we like, is his pupils dilated there or is that the light reflecting? It's so small to me over here that I can't tell either way.
It's probably just the light reflecting.
I could see where you see the bifocal thing or like where you could, but I feel like that's more his upper lid. Can you bring up that picture of Tommaso real quick again? I just want to see something. I still don't think it's him, but when we were talking and we were looking at that picture, one of the things that I said was about his left eyelid. And that literally was exactly what it looked like right there. Look, going closer, ready? The eyelid over here. You see how like you can, if you're a girl and you're watching this and you put on eyeliner, it's that inner corner part. It's like defined here and there, but not on the other eye.
This?
Yes. Well, that's weird.
Yeah, but that's like the only thing. I mean,
you're
this
right.
Guy's eye does this number, and this eye is like around all the way across. Like if you were to draw his eye, it's almost like an S backwards. Comes up, goes up, and then down, and then up.
I'm gonna
this guy. This guy's is just down then up, and they're like exaggerated downwards. Like that's the part that makes me think that this isn't the same guy. And then look at the nose on this dude and the lack thereof one.
But I was saying, if you had a bushy beard, I wish I had a mask right here. So not that I have a bushy beard that I'd be able to figure it out, but I could like put something under there, like cloth or something, to see if having like a beard would make it stick out more, which then would make it appear like it was flatter.
I don't think so. Not with this mask, because this mask, let me see if I can find it real quick so I can show you what it looks like, and then you tell me what you think. I'm gonna see if I can find it real fast. Shouldn't take me too long.
Oh no, take time. I'm like, my brain's like, my wheels are turning right now. I'm thinking of so many things.
It's interesting. It definitely is. Let's see.
I hope they figure it out.
I hope so too.
It feels like forever, but I guess in the grand scheme of things, like if they solved it tomorrow, I think we would look back and be like, it really wasn't that long, but it just feels like it's taking forever.
It does feel like it's taking forever. Man, I wish I had this link. I thought I had it here recently. I thought I did. You know what? I know how to find it. Maybe not.
Let's
see.
What was it to?
It was JLR putting on the mask.
Oh, I would love to see that.
Yeah, he put on the mask and he turns around and he looks to his side. And when he did that, I was like, man, that's I know where I got it at. Jeremiah.
Did he do that after all this?
Yeah, outside of Nancy's house.
That is so disrespectful.
I don't agree with it either.
Like, why would you even do that? It's almost like that is, if that's not attention seeking. Because by then, did we see the drone? Wait a minute. When he did that, did we see the footage
Mhm.
yet of the Nest camera? So we
Yeah.
didn't know that the person was wearing a mask, because that would have been really eerie if we didn't know that yet.
Yeah, no, we knew.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh
That's
man,
so disrespectful though, right? It's like you see that thing, it's like, what the hell's the point of you then? Like at the house, even it's not even like he did it at his house to show. Like, it would be one thing if you were to put on the mask to show like the nose thing, and if we put, like, it would be experimentation, but this just, I mean, I'd have to see, but it just feels wrong to put it on at the house, especially so soon after.
I don't disagree with you. I don't
Mm.
disagree with you. It's not something I would do.
Could he have
Put it
taken
there.
it down?
I don't think he did. I found it the other day. And so I just got to scroll up a little bit. I know that Jeremiah had put it, he had sent it to me.
Jeremiah Sutton, is that it? I see his name come up sometimes. I really have a good memory. Is
It's
that his name?
serious Jeremiah. I think he's under Nico or something like that.
Oh, okay. Please don't make that kind of comment unless you watch it. Wait, what comment?
They
I
brought
can't
more
see their
attention. Oh, they're talking about JLR.
I was going to say,
He's got some supporters. Like I said, I don't agree with putting it on, but you know, to each is their own. Oh man, I thought I had it here.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to, like, get anybody mad. I was just saying, I don't know that for me, it just doesn't feel like, I mean, again, if there was like an experimental type reason for it, I mean, do you really do that outside the home? I don't know. It's just my opinion. I think I wouldn't have done something like that, is all I'm saying. But I'm not judging any. I mean,
Yeah. I'm
kind
having a hard time finding it. Serious, do you mind asking Jeremiah to send it to me real quick again if he can find it again?
yeah,
No, Serious is in here.
I love Sirius.
Because it was, I had asked about it. You know what? I think I had asked. Let me see if I find mask. Let's see if it comes off this way. Nope. I thought I could find it under mask because I'd asked for it, a mask image. No, I don't have it. That's unfortunate. But
So
when
wait,
he
you
turns,
go to Google and type in JLR True Crime with ski mask, and then go to images. And if it's a video, you could always go to videos. But I'm under the images part, and you might be able to find it from this, because the second one in is him.
I'm not seeing it.
No, you don't say it. Okay.
No, I put videos and I put JLR True Crime ski mask. And
Oh my gosh, he has a Facebook post that he put up that says, "This woman thinks I'm the Nancy Guthrie kidnapper." And he puts up a picture of him. And why would you even do that? Oh my God, you have to see this.
let's see. And thank you, Cheryl, for your $10 donation.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, all my neighbors think I'm crazy due to my testing experiments. Good old Steve.
Oh, trust me. We all, I don't think anybody's crazy, but I think experiments are a good thing. I just don't know that, so soon after the thing, I'm just saying, I don't know that I'd feel comfortable with it.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Yeah, man, this is going to bother me because I had it too. I had it and I had it up. I know I had it under, I had sent it to my wife like 3 times on Facebook because I brought it up. And that was one of the points that I had brought up was that, it's not forgiving when it comes to your facial features, the mask itself. If you have a nose, it's going to show it.
No, that is true.
Oh no, I couldn't find it.
You'll have to send it to me if you do find it, because now I want to say it.
No, I hear you. I do too.
We'll
I
find.
want to pull it back up. I just there's so much stuff in the in our Discord where Jeremiah had sent it that I think it may have gotten lost in all the comments.
Oh,
A lot of people talking about the video. No, that's Levy. Let me know, Sirius, if they were able to find that.
yeah, that would be so interesting.
Oh, Cheryl goes, it wasn't in good taste, but I understand why it was done. Sorry, that sounded so condescending.
Okay,
No.
that works. I get it.
No, thank you. Yeah. I
Yeah,
had
no,
brought
it's
it up
just-
last time too.
Yeah, I just was saying that I wouldn't do it, but I'm not like being judgy wudgy. I'm
Yeah.
gonna send you this though. This is crazy.
You think you found one?
Somebody else find it? That would be cool if they do.
No, I don't think anybody did.
Okay, so this Facebook thing is a little crazy. And it's his Facebook though. Like, why would he do that? I know why he would do that for the same reasons that he would have a million all the lawsuits that he has for, to bring attention, whether to him or whatever, to something. But that is interesting. Hold on, let me see. All right, this is just the picture of it because I don't know why, but I just sent you the picture of it.
Okay.
This is what he put on Facebook. Because I don't know if you have Facebook or not, and so I just took a screenshot of it.
Where'd you send it
This
to
was
me?
on Inside Edition in the same link thing that you sent me earlier for the show.
In the email? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's pull that up. Yeah, because
So
I know I have one of the images where he's in there with it on.
Inside Edition picked this up.
Huh. But I would agree. Like, I don't think it's JLR at all. But you see the eye shape, how JLR's eyes kind of dip down. They're kind of big with that line there. That looks more, and no way is it JLR, because when he turns, the nose sticks out. This guy's nose doesn't. And then you also have the head shape. I think JLR's head is a little bit smaller than the actual Porch guys, but I think that JLR's eyes are closer to Porch guy than what Tommaso's eyes are.
The shape of it, I agree.
Yeah, just the shape.
Just the shape. Yes, we are not saying that JLR did it. And if anything, I think it's good that we put up his post because he's the one that posted this. So we're not just putting up somebody else's post. If you look, this is from him. He's the one that posted it. So we're just posting his post.
Exactly. And so like I have, you know what? It's funny. I don't think I've ever told anybody this publicly, but when I was covering the Bryan Kohberger case, I had people telling me that they thought that JLR was the one that committed that crime too, before Bryan Kohberger got arrested.
Oh my gosh.
I got people sending me images of JLR's hands and stuff. They're like, oh, look, there's cuts. And I'm like, dude, it wasn't JLR. Get over
Oh my gosh. That's crazy, right?
Yeah, some people just, and so
on the picture that I just sent you, if you look at the nose of the guy with the mask on, I like where the nose is that his nose? I feel is that the tip of his nose?
His nose looks weird. It looks almost like it's going to the left.
But like if you scroll in on that though, I feel like you could see the tip of his nose. Is that the tip of his nose right there?
Right here?
No. Go back where his lips are.
Oh, this?
Yes.
I never noticed that.
Me either. But if that's the tip of his nose, then it would say to me that it's one of those noses that like come down like a point type thing.
Thank you, Sirius. I'm sorry if I woke him up. Yeah, no. Like I said, I don't. To you, do you think that maybe his nose could be broken?
I don't know. That looks like it could be the tip of his nose, though, which would mean that, yes, absolutely. But it could also just be one of those flatter noses.
It could be.
That's the tip of his nose that, I mean, that gives me a whole other like picture in my head underneath that I wasn't thinking before.
Well, wait, here's the thing. Watch. Like, let me show you this. Let me see if I have it here. Where do I have it at? It's more like the question.
And it
I
would
should.
also definitely show that it's not JLR. You could see the philtrum, the part between the nose and the upper lip. Like JLR's, you could put like, a finger there where the other person's looks real small.
So this is something that Monks had drawn and did. So he was able to determine, and this is the image where he's approaching to the left, and you can see, and he actually did this interesting test where he can tell where the eyes were looking at. The eyes were looking directly at the doorbell camera, even when he's approaching and walking towards the left. Check out Discord. All right.
That's really cool.
And so he saw some features and thought that maybe perhaps I'm on Discord. I'm not seeing anything, Dubs. If y'all can send it directly to me, that'd be great. Just a direct messenger. One
If
of the
he's
things
watching this, I want to know if he thinks that was the tip of his nose up there.
I wonder. I don't know now. That's interesting. But one thing that he did notice was that there was like a bridge, and then there was like this bump here, and then it goes down.
I see it too. I definitely see that. When you could see it in this picture up here, I see that too.
And so one of the things that I noticed is there's this little lump up here, right where the hairline would be.
Oh,
You see that? And then it
I
comes
do.
around. And then the ear appears, I mean, his head is down, so the ear is up. I think if he's looking straight, the ear is lower than the eye. Because I think if he's wearing glasses, the glasses should come up to about right here. And look at how much lower his ear is. So ear is lower than the eye. Now I looked at this and I was like, you know what? That kind of looks like there could be hair. So I added some hair to this dude.
Could
And
you
then
imagine if somebody saw this and was like, "Oh my gosh, it's so and so"? But that's literally how these things get solved sometimes.
it is.
Oh,
And if this guy
wow,
had a beard,
that's cool. How you were able to do that?
and if he was wearing, maybe he's not wearing bifocals at night, but maybe he's a guy that wears bifocals normally and just, has the option of wearing glasses. But one of the things that I found interesting, so I went and I was like, all right, make it real. Then I was like, well, it's supposedly, Hispanic or maybe perhaps Middle Eastern, because that's what some of the gun owners said that they were looking pictures of. And so I came up with this image here, which is pretty interesting because have you seen Carlos?
I was just going to say the black and white rendition of it, the one all the way to the left, looks like that Carlos guy.
It does. It
Mm.
does. Now, I'm not saying obviously
Yes,
that it
we're
is
not saying that
Carlos,
this is anybody, right? No,
but I mean,
but that is
it's
eerie,
it's pretty weird because
especially
like
the one all the way to the left.
and I think this is the one where he talks about his
We spoke, I guess it was late last Tuesday night or early Wednesday morning. It's been
and so
The ears are lower than the eyes. The tip of the nose goes downward.
that doesn't, you can't tell me that doesn't look kind of like him.
Oh
Now,
my gosh,
obviously,
Daniel, look at his nose there, though. Like, and I'm not saying it's Carlos, but I think that just like how we said, like it was more of JLR type shaped eyes, I feel like the nose could be like Carlos's here. See how it goes down like that? The tip of it.
I do, and then the nostrils too.
Mm.
Thank you, Sirius. I think I got it. You said to go to 4 minutes and some odd seconds in there. So I'm like, oh, wait, I don't know if this is the right one, Sirius. 'Cause that one's not out at the. Let me go back down. Let's see. 409. Let me see. At 409, I just. That's 2 minutes. I'm not sure this one's it. No, I don't think that one's it's serious. But yeah, you're right about the nose and everything. You know, and even the eyes kind of not really. I think this guy's eyes are a little bit thinner.
Or
The
more almond.
yeah, porch guy's eyes are more wider, which kind of looks like Luke Daly. I mean, if you look at Luke Daly's eyes, it's like a combination of these two dudes together.
Who's the one? I forget which guy it was that I did on the I did a short too where I made it go from the one face to the other. Who was that? Was that? Do you remember?
I think that was that Luke guy.
Yeah, I think it was too.
And he let's see, let me find him real quick.
Believe that you are the person on the surveillance video, the abductor, the master.
This guy's eyes are more rounded, but I think he's freshly shaven. His nose, this has that hump that Monks was drawing, but this guy's nose sticks out quite a bit too.
Hmm. I think it might have been Carlos that I did from the one to the other. I'll have to find
Gotcha.
it.
Yeah, the only thing that looks more like Masked Guy in this is probably the head shape. The head shape looks similar, and I would say the eye shape and this bridge part of the nose, this bend downwards, looks kind of similar.
But doesn't his nose look like it's like bigger though?
It does. It definitely does. And so
That could have been from facial hair pushing it out too, you know.
Mm-hmm. He's clean shaven. Who's to say he wasn't that night? But I'm pretty sure. You know, if he went to the store, if he went somewhere, that there would be that would be out there. Oh, Steve also sent me an image. Do you have the video, Steve, of that from where that image came from?
Oh, was that it? Or are we getting closer?
I think we are getting closer. See, I don't know where I got sent the same one. Let me pull this down. I'm so confused. Let's see. Because this is the video that I've been sent twice now. But I'm not seeing anything of that. This doesn't seem like the right night.
You'll find it as soon as we hang up. You'll be like, there it is.
Probably. Like I've seen the X posts of him wearing it, but he has a YouTube 4 minutes 6 seconds and 4 hours 6 seconds and 26. So let's see. 4 hours.
A long video, 4 hours.
Okay, so he's putting it on this video here too. There's one where he does it at he's up here in the corner. There's one where he does it at the house, and that's the one I was looking for. Because in the one where he does it at the house is interesting, but let's see. I wish he would turn his head sideways so we can see it. That looks.
I'm sure he will. That's like such rage bait.
So yeah, this one is one, but it's not the one I'm looking for. I'm looking for the one where he's actually in front of the house. Let's see, 4 hours and 9 minutes. Yeah. No, the one I'm looking for is where he's outside of the house and he turns to the side. I had it somewhere. I'm kicking myself that I lost it. And so, but yeah, I mean, there's another image of him with it on, and it looks Like
So,
when he turns to his side, it looks way different. Now, one of the things I did notice is that he's put this on a couple of times, and look at how it looks on his face. It's all loose, like this part's like starting to separate. Would you believe that the porch guy's probably wearing that mask for the first time then? Given how it doesn't appear all
I don't
used?
know if that's what it means or if it just means that JLR's face is a lot thinner. Like it's not filling it out as much.
That's true too. But what I was thinking is like I don't know, it just seemed like it was kind of like, especially between the eyes on JLR's face, it looked like the mask is like stretched out already. It's
Well, yeah, he's definitely pulling on it. Like, and if this isn't the first time he wore it, I mean, I wonder, what it looked like the first time he put it on, if it was that stretched out, because he's definitely pulling on it that whole time that it's on. So I'm assuming that would have stretched it out too. But it does look like his face looks like pretty small
yeah,
um in the ski mask.
it does. And you know what? Maybe I was wrong about JLR. His nose does stick out a little bit, but when he turns to the side in that mask, um, it was no favors. Like it showed his nose stuck out. And so when I look at the mask and I see a lack of a nose, it's either the guy has a really small nose or he's compressing it, in my opinion.
Where you just shut that off, when he did turn to the side and you could see his nose stick out there. He like turns real quick. It doesn't have the mask on him, but you could see what you're saying.
Yeah.
That
Yeah. And
makes
so
sense.
I just think that if the mask guy had a nose on him too, that we'd probably see that. You know what I mean?
I'm going to be looking at tons of pictures just of everybody, not just of that. But like, I think that was interesting how you did the AI one. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not saying that it was definitely him.
No, obviously.
And see, look, let me show you this. This one's I got this sent to me as well. Now, this one isn't it's an image of when he's out there, but it's a forward facing image. And then we can call it a show after this. So let's see. So you can see how it sticks up a little bit, like
Wait, that's him?
that's him outside of the house. Yeah. Now this is the video I'm looking for. This is a screen image of the video. I'm looking for this video so I can see the side profile.
I swear that was one of the videos when I Googled it.
Yeah, because there's a couple of posts or tweets about this, and he's facing to the side. In this video, he turns to the side, and that's the one I'm looking for. Is when he turns to the side, because you can really see that it does you no favors. Yeah, it'll point out details because of the design of the pattern.
Oh, yeah. But now that I have that picture, I'll be able to see what I'm looking for too.
Yeah,
Those ski masks are scary looking.
they are. They really are. I feel bad for Miss Guthrie waking up to seeing something like
Oh,
that. You know what I mean?
100%. Oh my gosh, yes. That must have been horrifying.
I agree. Well, Dr. Vona, I don't want to take too much more of your time. We've been on here for more than 2 hours.
You're good.
What do you have going on the rest of this week?
So I don't know exactly when, maybe tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. But I want to get more into that Taylor Parker case. And I've translated the gibberish from the Mackenzie Shirley case. Like when I tell you, Daniel, I like nerded out and I listened to every single phone call and I transcribed the whole phone call, but then I went back and I transcribed her gibberish. I have pages, a whole book of it, but I did a lot of videos already, so people should look out for them. I did a whole live stream on it, but there's still more. So I'm still decoding the gibberish. And if people follow the case, they know what I'm talking about. Her and her mom speak like a special language, but it's not like Spanish or something. It's an English language, but it's like gibberish. It's like when you would say like annual day instead of Daniel, like pig
Okay.
Latin. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But they
yeah,
made
yeah.
their own type. So once you figure it out, the problem is Mackenzie speaks so fast that you have to like listen to it 1,000 times too. But people should look out for that. How about you?
I'll be on tomorrow night with former FBI agent Jennifer Coffindaffer, and then on Thursday night I have former CSI investigator Steve. He's going to be showing us a couple of his experiments when it comes to what it is that a drone can see at night, how well it can see, and can it pick up reflectors in the moonlight, and how is that possibly play a role in the case here.
That's awesome. I also want to set up a live with you and Justin from Clutch Them Pearls on this case.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Let's do it. Yeah, you have a lot of great like thoughts, and so does he. So I think together, even if like you did with Steve or whatever, or even with me, like we bounce ideas off of each other, and sometimes like we make the other one think of something that you might not have thought of. And this is how, I'm not saying we're gonna solve the case, but who knows, you just never know what somebody might say that might spark something. Oh,
That's
here
true.
goes your thing, Married to the Hobby.
Go follow, go subscribe, and then
Yes.
also don't forget Dr. Vona's Minds Behind True Crime.
That's it.
I
I also have Jamie Unscripted that we're starting.
Really, what's that about?
So it's the same thing. It's just I sometimes don't want to be Dr. Vona. Like sometimes I just want to talk shit. Like I just want to be not talk. I shouldn't say it like that. Oh, look, there goes my gibberish. But yeah, like sometimes I just want to be me. Like I want to be Jamie, the mom, like the normal person, not like the person that comes with PowerPoint slides all the time. So Jamie Unscripted is going to be more of just Jamie, and then the Minds Behind True Crime is more Dr. Vona.
Well, there you go. Go check her out. Go give her a subscribe. Let's get her up to, she's getting close to 6,000 subscribers. Let's get her there.
Get me there, please. That would be amazing.
And let her know that you came from the Drunk Turkey Show. I'd appreciate it. Well, it was a pleasure, and happy belated birthday. I hope you had a good one.
Thank you. Yes, and thank you everybody for tuning in that night. That was amazing. It was a great birthday. Thank you.
It definitely was. Well, y'all be safe tonight. We'll see you guys next time. Please go follow all of our other channels. You have a safe night. And
I'll see you later. That was fun.
See y'all later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.